Well, folks, yesterday, Thursday, may have been one of the worst days that Donald Trump has had in quite some time. We had movement on 3 different investigations into the former president, all of them not going his way. So let's start with obviously the big one, which is the one that came late in the day yesterday, the announcement that Donald Trump had been hit with additional charges in the documents case. These new charges allege that Donald Trump destroyed evidence by having one of his co-conspirators, a staffer at Mar-a-Lago who was also indicted, delete footage off the servers 3 days after Donald Trump had been subpoenaed for evidence. So, allegedly what happened, again, we have to say allegedly because he has not been convicted of this, but what the indictment alleges is that Donald Trump gets a subpoena for records and information. Information that would include security footage off the Mar-a-Lago servers. 3 days later, a staffer goes into the server room. This conversation, of course, is mentioned in the indictment. He's talking to another Mar-a-Lago employee, and they're like, hey, the boss says I got to delete the server. I don't know how to do it. The other guy's like, I don't know how to do it. But they specifically said the boss, meaning Donald Trump, told me to come in here and delete all the footage. So Donald Trump gets hit with destruction of evidence, obstruction, and all that fun stuff. So that is going to be added to the 37 counts that he was already facing in that documents case, putting even more strain on his loyal little judge, Judge Cannon. So we'll see how that one plays out. I think at this point, if we had a fair and competent judge in that documents trial, it'd be safe to say that Trump is toast. There's no telling what Judge Cannon is going to do. You know, she's pretty much tried to make sure that she's doing what Trump wants her to do, but not making it overtly, clear that that's what she's doing. So we'll see how this new indictment against him plays out. And then, of course, the big news early in the day was that Donald Trump's lawyers went to D.C., met with the grand jury, Jack Smith's team, and that was a clear sign that indictments are on the way. And in fact, shortly after that meeting was revealed, reporters did start saying that Donald Trump's lawyers were told that Donald Trump will be indicted for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. So that's the January 6th investigation carried out by Jack Smith. But Trump says none of that happened. Trump got on Truth Social after all these reports started coming out, and he said, quote, "My attorneys had a productive meeting with the DOJ this morning, explaining in detail that I did nothing wrong, was advised by many lawyers, and that an indictment of me would only further destroy our country. No indication of notice was given during the meeting. Do not trust the fake news on anything." So it's funny that he's like, I don't trust the fake news. I'm totally not getting indicted again. And then later in the day, he actually did get indicted again. So here's the thing, though. We actually don't know if that meeting that took place with Jack Smith was about the January 6th case or if it was about the indictment that was coming out later that evening. So that's something to keep in mind. I know everybody, of course, originally thought it was the January 6th one. Everybody was reporting it was January 6th. But because of the indictment that came later in the day, it actually seems far more likely that the lawyers called Trump lawyers in and said, hey, listen, we got him on destruction of evidence, so we're going to hit him with that later today. That is a very likely scenario because I think I misspoke earlier when I said the lawyers met with the grand jury. They didn't meet with the grand jury. They met with Jack Smith's team. So that is likely what took place there. But I do think, by the way, we will be seeing January 6th indictments very soon. But I think even before we see the January 6th indictments, we've got the third horrible thing that happened for Donald Trump yesterday. And that is that it was reported that barricades were being put up around the Fulton County Courthouse in Georgia. The Fulton County Courthouse where Fani Willis's investigation is basically coming from. They were putting up barricades. They didn't want people to be able to storm the building. So they were gearing up, or are gearing up, for something big. I don't know, maybe a big announcement about indictments. So that's something to keep an eye on. Heck, by the time you watch this, we may have already had those indictments. They may be coming out as I'm sitting here talking right now. But whatever it is, Trump's had a bad week. and it's only going to get worse from this point forward. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.